Here we go. Can we see? Oh, you want to come on in a little bit? Okay, here we go. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome today. This is Siobhan Palmer with, we've already got a viewer, Norbert. Awesome. Hello, April Sunshine. Welcome to the Plaid Girls TV. This is Siobhan Palmer. It's Wednesday, December 2nd, 2015, and I have a very special guest this week. I'm very honored to introduce to our audience Mr. Norbert White. He is the President and Chief Executive Officer of the Villages of Samaritan House, located in Fort Worth, Texas. Mr. White, welcome to the Plaid Girls.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Are you glad? He's glad to be with the women of Plaid. See,
yes.
They're already welcoming you right there. Beautiful. Norbert, this is such an important topic. And first of all, why don't we tell people, first of all, what the mission of the Villages of Samaritan House is here in Fort Worth?
The mission of Samaritan House is to provide housing and supportive services to individuals impacted by HIV and AIDS, homelessness, and mental health disabilities.
Wow.
We provide support to approximately 400 men, women, and children in the Tarrant County area.
That's amazing. What year, I know that this goes back, we have to lean in a little bit to each other, like Sheryl Sandberg, we're leaning in. What year was the Samaritan House founded?
Samaritan House was begun in 1991. We will be celebrating our 25th year of supporting the Tarrant County community next year.
Okay. Now, was this modeled after an existing program in the United States initially, or is this something unique to Tarrant County?
It is not unique to Tarrant County. In fact, we were modeled after an agency out of Dallas called AIDS Services of Dallas.
Okay.
And in fact, we still coordinate and work with AIDS Services of Dallas. So their model in place in Tarrant County.
Okay. You know, I learned something. I've been a long time Tarrant County resident, and I just learned something here. I thought the services were just for individuals with HIV and AIDS, but also helps people with homelessness issues and or mental health issues.
Actually, only a minority of the people that are on our campus, in fact, are directly impacted by HIV or AIDS.
Interesting.
Of the approximately 400 individuals we will support in a calendar year, less than 40% of them have a diagnosis of HIV or AIDS. Approximately 90 of those individuals are children.
Wow.
And in fact, none of them have a diagnosis of HIV or AIDS. Approximately 45% of the individuals we serve were previously homeless.
45%.
Yes.
That's remarkable. Okay, so this is so interesting. I know, with new treatments and so forth, HIV/AIDS diagnosis is not a death sentence. So how has that impacted your programs or services here at Samaritan House?
Well, let's talk about where we began. We actually began in a trailer on the north side of Fort Worth.
A trailer?
A trailer.
Wow.
And it was because individuals with HIV or AIDS diagnoses were ostracized from society. And they simply were trying to find a place of some comfort where those people could feel a sense of security and a sense of belonging. They began that work in a trailer. There were 3 or 4 individuals who were present in that trailer.
Amazing.
Over time, they moved to another location where they could serve 32 individuals. We were originally chartered as a hospice because people with HIV and AIDS were dying so often. As time passed and people began to live because of improvements in healthcare and improvements in lifestyle, we changed our mission and our direction. We became a place not where people went to die, but a place where people could live.
Wow.
And as a consequence, we expanded our services. We, in fact, have individuals who have lived here for a total of 14 years. And for those individuals, we help them live rather than support them as they die.
Wow, that's remarkable. So there's no period of time, a cutoff date where an individual, once they get housing here at Samaritan House, there's not a limit to where after they're flourishing everything, they have to leave their apartment or home.
No, we are permanent supportive housing, and we allow the resident to make the decision as to when they will depart. We take them to a point of stability, medically, mentally, physically, but a decision as to when they move on to greater independence is their decision, not ours.
That's amazing. So you literally, it's not just a stopgap. This is a continuum line of care for an individual, and you're treating them with respect and dignity as a human being to have the most positive life they can.
That's absolutely true. Now, please keep in mind that we began by having a single site where everyone in that building had HIV or AIDS. We then expanded to the villages at Samaritan House, which are 1, 2, and 3 bedroom apartments that are occupied by families. We now have a Genesis program, and we have approximately 60 apartments around Tarrant County where people have made a transition from the single room occupancy building to the villages back into the community. So we support. And in fact, our goal is that they move beyond Samaritan House, but at their own pace.
This is remarkable. This is why living in Tarrant County and Fort Worth area, we're so proud to be here with organizations that are headed up by Mr. White. Can you talk, Norbert, about, even today in 2015, I'm going to pull you in just a little bit closer, what are the biggest misperceptions people still have about people living with HIV/AIDS?
For the young people, the misperception is that HIV and AIDS is a legacy from the past and something that they can survive.
Exactly.
It is still a danger to everyone, and people need to act accordingly. I read an article today that said that the rate of STDs is going up, and it is because people are acting in irresponsible ways. I think that's also true as it relates to HIV and AIDS. If you act irresponsibly, you can expose yourself to any number of ills that can damage you. Absolutely.
That complacency, and a lot of these young people think they're bulletproof sometimes. And again, there's a lot of misperception about populations that are impacted by HIV/AIDS. Back when the epidemic started in the 80s, it was predominantly gay men in this country, but that's certainly changed, hasn't it?
It has changed. Women certainly are touched by it quite dramatically. Black males are touched by it dramatically, but it is a danger to each of us.
Absolutely.
And we each need to be careful.
Let me ask you, I know you're relatively new to the position here in Tarrant County. Why did you get into this line of work?
I actually came to this line of work after 34 years in the corporate world as an executive. And I joined Executives in Action, which is a Dallas-based organization that deploys executives against the work that nonprofits are doing in Dallas-Fort Worth. So I joined Executives in Action, was given the choice to join Samaritan House. After about 6 months, was invited to join the board, served on the board, became chairman of the board, and then I was invited to apply for the job of president and CEO.
Wow.
And I have been president and CEO for 3 years. But my tenure here at Samaritan House probably extends back almost 7 years.
Right. Well, this nonprofit has made a huge impact in the community here, and I always like to ask CEOs, what do you think you've learned, Norbert, from this work about women, people who were living with HIV/AIDS? What have you learned personally?
I tell people that I do the work that I do in honor of my mother. And the one thing that my mother taught me was that everyone has value and everyone can contribute. I have been astounded by how much I have learned from the individuals that I work with. I'm not a great respecter of titles, but I am a great respecter of your willingness to contribute. Everyone here has value. Everyone here has a story, and everyone here has a journey. We don't always move forward without deviation in our journey. People have to be respected as they live their journey, and that's all I aspire to do.
Oh my gosh. Beautifully said. How would you define success for yourself personally, Norbert?
That's an interesting question. I tell people that in my former life in the corporate world, only the hard measures mattered. In this world, it's the soft measures that matter. It is people making progress in their journey. It is people remaining sober. It is people making a decision to live a more healthy life. When I am laid in my grave, I simply want to know that I have contributed in some positive way to individuals in every community where I existed. I hope that is what I will have accomplished. Not that I will have made a lot of money, but rather that I've made a difference in the lives of many people.
What a remarkable man here. And let me ask you, obviously we're going to give the website address for more people to get information, to get involved either on a voluntary basis, to contribute funds to the Villages of Samaritan House here. But also before we, I'd like you to leave, let's go ahead and do that because I want to leave with your favorite quote. But best way for our audience to get more information about Samaritan House, Norbert?
You can go to www.samaritanhouse.org.
Okay.
And in fact, that will allow you to visit our website and to learn more about us.
I'm looking at our audience here, this beautiful lady. Thank you, April Sunshine. You're leaving quite a legacy, and I could not agree more. This is an amazing man. And just to round out our interview, Norbert, we were laughing earlier that we have to keep it at 10 minutes or, you young folks will turn us off. But could you leave our audience with a favorite quote?
I actually tried to locate this quote because of your note to me earlier, and I didn't find it, but it basically says this. And by the way, these are two sisters who work in a charity in Knoxville, Tennessee. Their quote basically says that when you begin your work, you try to help people define what love looks like. What you learn, however, is that love is defined by each person, and love must be seen by each person through their own eyes. I simply try to define love from my perspective and offer it to people. It's not always accepted. In some cases, it's outright rejected. But what's important is that I offer the love. And when I took this job, that was a quote that I took into the interview with the Samaritan House board. That's what's important to me. Offering love, whether it's accepted or not.
Well, Norbert White, I can't tell you what an honor it has been to meet you and interview today. I'm sure we'll be having many more interviews. This is an amazing man, amazing organization. We had a great audience today. Thank you for all our live viewers. You're fantastic. Sending a lot of love via Periscope. This is Siobhan Palmer with the Plaid Girls. We'll see you next time, and thank you again for joining us. And thank you, Norbert.
Take care.
Peace. Okay.